Texas football picks up a big win in Lubbock. Men's and women's basketball starts out the season strong. And women's volleyball adds 2 wins to their impressive record. All this and more on College Press Box. Good evening, folks, and welcome into College Press Box. I'm your host, Zachary Leff, alongside Bailey Wald. Bailey, after two straight losses. Texas was looking forward to a must-needed win this past Saturday in Lubbock.
That's right, Zach. They had a great season at the beginning with 6 straight wins, and then these 2 losses. The Longhorns took on the Red Raiders this Saturday in hopes to turn around their season and be back in the running for the Big 12 championships. Let's head down to Lubbock for the highlights. Here we are at Jones AT&T Stadium Saturday night, number 19 Texas running out to the field. First drive of the game, Tech quarterback Jet Duffy with the 5-yard touchdown to TJ Vassar to get an early lead. Now Sam Ellinger passed to Little Jordan Humphrey for 19 yards and a first down. LJ had a great game. Here he is again with the 9-yard catch and a touchdown. Texas fans and cheerleaders are loving it. Now Ellinger with the handoff to Keontae Ingram for a 2-yard rushing touchdown, and Texas takes the lead. Jet Duffy once again with a 57-yard pass to Antoine Wesley for a touchdown closes the lead to 10 points. It is 27-17. Texas is winning. Sam Ellinger with a pass to Devin Duvernay for 39 yards and a touchdown with his second touchdown of the game. It is 34-17. Now in the fourth quarter, Jet Duffy again to Antoine Wesley for a 9-yard touchdown to tie up the game. Ellinger takes the ball and has no one to pass it to, so he runs 18 yards for a first down. With seconds left, Ellinger passes the ball to LJ Humphrey for a 29-yard touchdown, and Texas wins 41-34 in Lubbock.
Now, let's hear from TSTV's own Madison Hager, who was in Lubbock on Saturday.
Flying tortillas and an explosive Texas Tech offense were not able to stop the Horns on Saturday.
Last year, Texas had a 17-point lead in the fourth over Tech and ended up losing. This year, Texas once again had a 17-point lead in the fourth and almost lost it, but ended up winning this year. Coach Tom Herman said the difference was confidence.
The confidence is great in Sam. I'm telling you, he sees the game as good as any guy I've been around.
When Tech scored 24 points in the fourth and when the game was on the line, Coach Tom Herman knew who to rely on.
Just put it in an area where it was a 50-50 ball, just having full confidence in him, and look what happened.
In critical moments of games, I think players, not plays. And for us, 11 and 84 are pretty good players, and they're playing pretty good right now.
Coming off of 2 tough losses, Gary Johnson reflected on what Herman told the team to do in order to take a win back to Austin.
He just told us, let's get out of this slump. Let's get back to what we do. Let's get that swagger back. And he told us, every day at practice, keep swinging, let's punch our way out. And, when things get tough, don't go, try to do too much. Just go back to your training.
Texas only has 2 games left, and if they win out, they have the potential to have a 10-win season, which has not happened since 2009. From Jones AT&T Stadium in Lubbock, Texas, I'm Madison Hager, TSTV Sports.
This evening, we have football analyst Eric Goodman joining the show. Eric, thanks for coming. After snapping their 2-game losing streak on the road against the Red Raiders, how significant was this win for the Longhorn season moving forward?
Well, Zach, in simplest form, it keeps Texas alive, and it keeps Texas alive in a couple different departments. Yes, they are still alive for that Big 12 championship game. Okay, no college football playoff, all that talk is way in the past, but I think the Big 12 championship was always Texas's goal coming into the season, and it's still very much an achievement. Now, they don't control, as they like to say, they don't control their own destiny. They still have to hope that West Virginia can beat Oklahoma or something else crazy happens, and this is all under the pretext that they handle their business, Texas does, against Kansas and against Iowa State in these remaining 2 games. However, I was saying especially this last stretch since Texas's bye week, I didn't think they had what it takes to go on the road against a conference opponent, especially at nighttime in a place like Lubbock, Texas, and pull out a win and beat a team that, by all accounts, they should have been able to beat. They did that on Saturday, and I think just for the program's perspective and for Tom Herman, that's a big step forward and something that was very nice for those of us here in Austin to be able to see them do.
Yeah, great answer, Eric. This morning, Tom Herman talked about how the offense was the key success on Saturday against the Red Raiders.
We weren't going to win the last few games 17-14. It just wasn't going to happen. And that's something that our offense understands very early in the week. They understand it, you know, as we install the game plan. The game plan's always going to start with, you know, being balanced.
While the offense rose to the occasion, in the fourth quarter, the defense allowed 24 points. Eric, how would the Longhorns' defense performance at the end of the game?
Well, it's not good, and it's bottom line, it's not good enough. And in this case, yes, you could say, okay, you know, they did end up winning the game in the end, but Texas is asking Sam Ehlinger to do too much, and to his credit and to the offense's credit, they've stepped up in a lot of these games against Oklahoma, against Texas Tech, going back against USC, and they've actually stepped in and been able to cover up what the defense, some of their letdowns in the fourth quarter. It all comes down to playing 4 complete quarters of a game on the defensive end. And Texas last year was able to do that pretty much consistently every game. It was their best, most reliable attribute of the team. And I get it, you lost a lot of NFL talent last year, but this team preaches next man up. And I'm sorry, at this point, and yes, Texas also had a lot of injuries, but if you're a team that preaches next man up, then you gotta stand by that. And guys like B.J. Foster, yeah, true freshman, but he's in there, he's playing, he's got to play better. And even you got veterans like Anthony Wheeler that seem to lose a little bit of steam when it comes down to those final minutes. And listen, the Big 12 quarterback and their offenses are too good to come off the gas pedal a little bit in the fourth quarter, and then you end up what happens on Saturday where Texas should have been able to ride out a very comfortable win, ends up becoming a tie game, and then Texas has to make a game-winning drive. And as exciting as that is, you'd like to see them be able to put those games away earlier.
Yeah, I love the point about B.J. Foster. I mean, he's young, but he was so highly recruited. You expected him to come in there and immediately make an impact, and the long season's really done something to him. With only 2 weeks left and a tough matchup looming against number 18, Iowa State, how do you see the rest of the season and this game going for the Longhorns?
Well, what they cannot do is they cannot let it become a trap game. And it shouldn't. They have no reason to let it become one because Iowa State is a ranked team. This is not the Iowa State that's come to Austin in any of my time here. This is my fourth time seeing Texas play Iowa State. Mm-hmm. Usually, you can write that game off as a W, but they struggled in Ames. This one's in Austin, and even though Iowa State 5-0 under Brock Purdy, they're one of the hottest teams in the country. Matt Campbell probably online for, if not a college football head coaching job in a more elite program, maybe even an NFL job. So Iowa State is the real deal, and Texas needs to approach a game like it. But one thing I've always said about Texas, ever since stepping foot in DKR from the USC game, I don't see how they can lose another game in that arena, especially West Virginia came about as close as you could against Iowa State. I think they can handle their business there. I think they should. And then go to Lawrence, Kansas. We know what happened last time Texas went there. It was the end of the Charlie Strong era. This team is light years ahead of where that team was 2 years ago. So if Texas can get past Iowa State, I think they should have no problems against Kansas, and then that puts them at a 9-win season with the potential for 10 or maybe even 11 wins if, all things fall into place. And that's a huge step up.
Yeah, if all things fall into place. Great analysis. Thank you, Eric. When we come back, we have more Press Box coming your way as Texas men's basketball picked up 2 big wins to start off their 2018-2019 season.
Welcome back to College Press Box. Once again, I'm Bailey Wald. Texas men's basketball started their season last week defeating Eastern Illinois and then Arkansas a few days later. TSTV's very own Ted Kim was at the season opener against Eastern Illinois.
No Bamba, no problem. It was a season opener here at the Frank Irwin Center as the Longhorns squared off against the Eastern Illinois Panthers. Tonight was about the freshmen, and one in particular stood out. Freshman forward Jackson Hayes. Coming from Cincinnati, Ohio as a 4-star recruit, Hayes did not disappoint as he used his height advantage and sheer will to put up 12 points and 2 blocks in 20 minutes.
I felt pretty good, just like once I actually started playing.
Am I?
All the nerves and stuff. I feel like I played pretty good.
But the spotlight tonight was not only on Jackson Hayes and the freshman. Andrew Jones, a player who had recently been diagnosed with leukemia, saw the hardwood tonight as he played 9 minutes at the end of the second half.
Andrew he wants to be treated like he's one of us. Like, besides what happened to him, in the recent couple months, he wants to have the same respect and be able to show that, he's just as good as us.
It was a slow start for Texas tonight, but with promising freshmen, they were able to ultimately pull a win. A win is a win, but the team has a lot to improve on both offensive and defensive ends.
There was some really good stretches of, first of all, really good defensive play where we held them to one shot. We grabbed the ball off the glass. We got the ball down the floor fast. That's how we want to play. Our guys got something out of our full court pressure. There's still a lot of adjustments and things we can do better with that, but they played with energy. We got a lot of deflections. We reached our deflection goal, which is always a key. So those things happened a lot more during those 15 minutes than for the other parts of the game.
Although the Longhorns will not play at their home court, they will continue to pursue their next win at Fort Bliss, going against the Arkansas Razorbacks. For TSTV Sports, I'm Ted Kim.
I'm joined tonight by basketball analyst Cameron Parker. Welcome to the show, Cameron. Although it is early in the season, the Longhorns are undefeated. So what strengths do you think that the team as a whole has shown so far?
Well, I think so far they've shown how much depth they have as a team. 11 different players have played so far in the first 2 games. That's excluding Royce Ham Jr. and without any walk-ons playing. So theoretically, they have 12 players that can play every night. They haven't been this deep since Rick Barnes' 2009-2010 squad that featured 4 NBA players. And so along with that depth comes a very experienced front court that includes Curran Roach and Andrew Jones and, of course, transfer guard Elijah Mitrou-Long, the St. Mary's transfer. So having that depth and the experience in the backcourt allows them to have a deep tournament run, something that they haven't had yet. And without Curran Roach, I don't think Texas beats Arkansas.
And as you mentioned, each of the returning players have definitely helped Texas prove themselves. But there are 5 freshmen who are new to the team this year and have already played in the first 2 games and put up some great stats. So what potential do you see for these freshmen to be standout players on the court in this upcoming season?
Well, in the words of the GOAT, Michael Jordan, the ceiling is the roof for these freshmen, including Jackson Hayes. Hayes had a coming-out party against Eastern Illinois. He's going to make people think twice before they drive to the hoop with him on the court. And not just Hayes, but Courtney Ramey. Also, they both shined in that OT win against Arkansas. After Jericho Sims and Matt Coleman fouled out, both of them had to play heavy minutes in overtime. Hayes ended up guarding Arkansas's best player, Daniel Gafford. Didn't allow him to score. And then Ramey had the game-winning floater in overtime, and the 2 of them played a big part in the defensive stand against Arkansas to win the game. And 2 other freshmen to watch out for, Gerald Liddell and Kameka Hepa. Both have very raw talent, so it'll be interesting to see how they develop over the year.
So clearly there is a lot of potential on this team, but taking into consideration that it is super early in the season, what can you say the expectations are for this team when looking ahead?
Well, I think this team has to have a deep NCAA tournament run. I'm not saying Final Four or Elite Eight, but you got to get to the Sweet 16. Shaka has not gotten out of the first round at Texas yet. Now, last year, I understand Andrew Jones gets injured. Eric Davis Jr. had all the drama, yada, yada, yada. And then, of course, the first year, Isaiah Taylor left after his junior year. So the second year was kind of tough for Shaka. But you can't keep making these excuses. It's put up or shut up now for Texas. And if another missed opportunity, another first-round exit, or you miss a tournament altogether, then Shaka could be gone.
All right, thanks so much, Cameron, for your analysis. If you want to go to the rest of the basketball games this season, make sure to buy the big ticket. When we come back, we'll talk about the women's basketball team, who has also started their season this past 2 weeks with 2 wins. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to College Press Box. Women's basketball started last Thursday night as the Longhorns were home against the Duquesne Dukes. TSTV's own Thomas Finch was on site at Frank Irwin Center.
On Thursday night, the Texas Longhorn women's basketball team took the court for the first time in the 2018-19 season against the Duquesne Dukes.
We're taking one game at a time, and what we did tonight was a step in the right direction, and that's about all you can ask for as a coach, is that your players are trying to improve each day, and they've done that.
Starting her 7th season in Austin, Coach Karen Aston received high praise from Duquesne head coach Dan Burt.
It's good that we're challenging ourselves against some of the best teams in the country, and I do believe that Texas is one of the best teams in the country. I thought they played very well tonight. I thought that Coach Aston really utilized her lineup really well and just buried us in the post and really went at our weaknesses.
It was a career night in the season opener for sophomore Destiny Littleton, who brought a spark off the bench, finishing the game with 15 points and 4 rebounds.
You know, going into the season, I focused on nutrition, you know, getting in with Zach, conditioning, you know, getting time in the gym, you know, making every rep count. And so, you know, just having that mindset, I think that's the biggest difference. I have the skill, you know, you could always, you know, get better in skill, but I think having the mental toughness and the mindset of coming out every game and doing the little things is really what the biggest difference is.
Also stepping into the spotlight was LaShawn Higgs, who finished the night with 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists.
She led by the way she played the game today. And, you know, you have LaShawn that if she just takes care of her business, that's a huge amount of leadership right there because the young ones will follow that.
One of the unique aspects of this Texas team is their ability to have fun, something Aston hopes will draw in more fans this season.
I did think we were entertaining tonight, which is what you want. I mean, the students want to be entertained. I'm fired up that there were some here, and hopefully that word gets out that we're a fun basketball team to watch. I thought we were fun tonight.
The Horns will travel up to Denton on Monday, where they will take on the North Texas Mean Green. From the Frank Irwin Center, I'm Thomas Fitch, TSTV Sports.
The swimming and diving teams started their season undefeated with 4 wins over top 20 teams, including their win over number 5 California this weekend. The final score was 163 to 137, with Evie Piper, Joanna Evans, and Allison Gibson each coming away with 2 wins. Evans held the fastest pace for the 1,000 free and set the 6th fastest pace for the 200 free this weekend. The diving team will compete this Wednesday through Friday at the Texas Hall of Fame Diving Invitational, and the swim team will compete in 2 weeks at the Texas Swimming Hall of Fame Invitational.
Last Friday, UT's men's tennis team finished their fall season at the Oracle ITA Fall National Championships. Yuya Ito, Harrison Scott, and Christian Sigsgaard all competed in the tournament, with Sigsgaard going the farthest after being bounced out in the quarterfinals. UT's men's tennis team will start up league play in January.
The All-American and 2018 Big 12 Player of the Year, Bianca Turati, was awarded the wild card into the main draw of the Oracle Challenger Series in Houston. The match began today, and she will be playing in the round of 32. Turati won the International Tennis Federation Pro Circuit Singles Championship earlier this year.
Last Friday, both men's and women's cross-country teams qualified for the national championships after both earned second-place finishes at regional tournament. This is the second straight year that both the men's and the women's teams qualified in the same year. They'll be heading up to Madison, Wisconsin next weekend for the national championships. When we come back, we will wrap up College Press Box with volleyball's big win over Kansas last Saturday.
For the last time this evening, welcome back to College Press Box. Number 5 Texas Volleyball played their rival Kansas this weekend and came away with a 3-1 win at home. Matt Marinchak was at the game at Gregory Gym.
Coming off a 6-game winning streak, Texas Volleyball hopes to continue that streak by beating Kansas, the team that gave them their last loss. In addition to being a revenge game against Kansas, this game had a lot of meaning for players and coaches, especially for freshman Sydney Peterson, because it was on Veterans Weekend.
My grandpa was actually in the Army, and so I think I played for him today.
Coach Jared Elliott also had some things to say about how special it was playing on Veterans Weekend.
Well, it's a nice time to reflect on that. You know, there's so much turmoil going on in our country, and to be able to give back and make sure that we're recognizing those and, you know, trying to be safe right now. It's a little bit of a chaotic time, so there's a lot of servicemen that have really put in their time to protect us, and we appreciate it.
Ever since the game against TCU, freshman Jenna Gabriel has seen more minutes as a setter than former starter Ashley Shook. Senior Morgan Johnson believes that a new setter doesn't affect the team's chemistry.
I wouldn't say it's like really an adjustment because we try to have all of our setters set the same way. So even though it's a different setter, the sets are still the same. So it's not really that big of an adjustment. And she's come in and she's been really confident, and she's put a lot of confidence in us. So it's just made it really easy to play with her.
With the momentum from Veterans Weekend and new starter Jenna Gabriel, Texas was able to continue their win streak to 7 as they beat Kansas 3-1. From Gregory Gym, I'm Matt Marinchek, TSTV Sports.
Now let's see what Texas sports has in store for us this upcoming week. From Wednesday to Friday, swimming and diving will compete at the Hall of Fame Diving Invitational. On Thursday, women's basketball will go against McNeese State at the Frank Irwin Center. Women's volleyball will travel to Waco to take on Baylor. Also, men's basketball will take on the Citadel at 7 p.m. On Saturday, the Longhorns return to DKR to play their final home game against Iowa State.
Thanks for joining us this Monday evening for College Press Box. Make sure to watch College Crossfire on Wednesdays, hosted by Jonathan Polasic. For the last time, I'm Bailey Wald.
And I'm Zach Leff.
And we'll see you next week.